Welcome back, baseball fans. The 1974-77 Carryover League. We are returning to the 1976 card set for the fourth time to look at the last two divisions, the National League Mountain Time Zone Expansion Team Division and the National League West, looking for potential the carry-along players and see if they have a plan to take any of these guys in the year of 1976. First team we'll look at is Arizona. It's Mike Hegan, Dave May, Merv Retman, and Steve Stone. The scouting indicates that not one of them is selected for 76. In the case of Hegan, though, it's a pretty flat performance in 7, 4, 5, and 6. They're pretty much the same kind of guy all 3 years, so it doesn't matter that much. You get a good fielding first baseman. Does give you some power, and you don't really mind him against lefties that much if he had to get some at-bats on that side. We like Dave May's 1975 card. He no longer plays center field. He's just okay here. Redman's got a nice glove, and he has the ability for the walks and some power, but it's much better in 77. It's still a decent card, even though the batting average is so poor because of the walks makes it a redeemable card, but 77 is much better. And Steve Stone, 75, he can pitch on 3 days rest. Could you fall back to this card? Not a big fan of starter fives, which means I'd put him in the bullpen where he'd be just a guy. A jag, nothing special at all. So with that, Hegan might make the most sense if you have to take a guy from this lot for the year of 76. Otherwise, take a look at free agency. We can also look at the second-year rookies. These are guys who were on the rookie list a year ago but weren't taken. Jim Essien is a nice little -1 arm catcher who has a nice on-base percentage against lefties, hitting .246. Got a switch-hitting shortstop, Mike Miley, but he does most of his damage on the other side. Now this is an opportunity here. See the high percentage and the bad performance? That means this guy's batting average is going to be really poor. Yeah, 184 hitter. But if you use him on this side, you can get like a 260 performance out of him. So that's how you can game the system if you were to use this guy. And Dick Ruthven-Nails was probably a Philly, or a Brave, then he goes to the Phillies. Can pitch on 3 days rest, but not particularly effectively. If you need a guy to throw in 3 days, you go for him as a second-year rookie option for the Diamondbacks. All right, next up, your Colorado Rockies. In Colorado, it's Joe List, Jim Brewer, Joe Coleman, Al Fitzmaurice. This is the Joe List card we like. The homers, and the walks on the right side. Not as great on the left side, but the homers are still there. The walks aren't. But if for a 234 hitter, if I had to take his card, I wouldn't mind it because you get the OPS on the right side, which is where you want it. So, better than his other card of 74. Joe Coleman is now in the pen, and the workload has settled down a bit, so he's more effective. He's not asked to throw 250 innings, so he lowers his ERA to 4.10. It gets even better in 77. He goes from the Cubs to the Oakland A's and has a nice 77. Al Fitzmaurice can pitch on 3 days rest, I believe. So there you go. Now, he probably would have been in the playoffs for the Kansas City Royals, I'm thinking, in 76. With a 3.07 ERA on 3 days rest. That's a get. Because you're taking a playoff pitcher away from another franchise, and Colorado could certainly use pitching value. Let's see if there's some second-year rookies. Again, with power. This is an OPS team as demonstrated by Joe List. Homers, walks, strikeouts. Okay, you got the walks. not as many home runs, but you have homers over here. This is a nice card for Jerry Devannon, a utility player who could be an everyday player because of the walks. He hits 290 with 21 walks. This would be awesome. This is a 400 on base, folks. That is nothing to sneeze at. 400 on base, you can put him anywhere you want in the infield. Power on the left side. Definitely going to be in the league. Surprised he wasn't taken in this first crack. They'll take him in the second crack. And then you got a guy just like that. Ken Pape. And I love this, folks. If you're wondering, HBPs are definitely exaggerated on Strat cards because they're not on the pitcher's cards. So generally, you get a lot more than you practically would have as an IRL MLB player. Now, this is so strange. An estimated batting record for a guy who may not have played, but how do you know who was going to get hit by pitch so much, which is an anomaly? Or he simply was a September call-up who got beamed like 3 times in 20 at-bats, but they don't have his stats. I don't know. But in any event, it's a fun card. That's what we like. Like to have fun with this. Maybe he'll break the Ron Hunt hit by pitch record. All right, Stormin Gorman Thomas. Now here's the thing. The Brewers will have the rights to him with the 77 card. They somehow got the rights in 76 because the performance isn't particularly good. But the Brewers might want to think about making a trade to make sure he doesn't slip through the Milwaukee. He'll be a Milwaukee Brewer. So if push comes to shove, the Brewers will make a trade to get this card, or the Brewers will take a different card in one of the other years. Jason Thompson's really struggling at the beginning of his career. 230, 218. You have Tom Bruno, not so much there. We got Sid Manji, a lefty starter, but he'll be better as a reliever. Yeah, 336 ERA, 118 innings, but better in the bullpen. Well, I like Jerry Devannon, definitely. That's your Colorado Rockies. All right, next up is Vegas. Anderson, Bavacqua, Brinkman, and Brett. Mike Anderson has a nice card, and here it is. Oh, 1-2. They love, yeah, and that's a nice card. So this card we picked up. 291 hitter in a corner outfield spot. Play every day with a nice defense. This Vegas is the team built around defense. They love their ones. They're going to have Kurt Bavacqua. And he doesn't have a card in 76 here. Neither does Ken Brett. Excuse me, neither does Ed Brinkman, I should say. But Ken Brett does have one as a starter 8. Nice card here. Ken Brett really has this is his kind of his sweet spot. 74 through 6 are the best Ken Brett years. 3.28 ERA on 3 days rest. Yeah, I like Brett and Anderson. They're going to take Bavacqua in 77 and Brinkman in 74. So it's pretty clear the paths of the keepers. If there is a rookie, we don't have space for him unless we make some other arrangements. Because we like Anderson and Brett. Hector Cruz is a third base outfield with some power. Larry Haney, nothing much out of a catcher. We got a 3 shortstop who actually hits reasonably well. Wish he was a 2. Wagner sometimes is. That's a decent card. Look at the 261 for a 3 shortstop. You know, nothing to sneeze at, but again, you know, if you're not a 4 at short, you'll get looked at if you can hit a little bit. We have Rick Russell's brother, Paul Russell, as a relief starter. He's not very good. Rick Sawyer, he's not very good, and that's that. Well, kind of first instincts, Anderson and Brett. Straightforward. Next, Portland, and then I'll take a break before we do the West. Bloomberg, Carbo, Martinez, Montgomery, and all those guys I mentioned are better in other years. I don't know if this is a case of 1976 in general, but the 76 season is very blah. I'm just trying to come up with a simplified way to describe it. I just don't think fondly of that year. And when I look at a lot of player cards, they're better in other years. Particularly the years that surround 76 amplifies this. 75 and 77 for most of these players are better. Bloomberg's gone. And Bernie Carbo has a great 75 and 77, but is a 235 hitter in 76. Ted Martinez doesn't have a card. Bob Montgomery hits 377. He's hitting 247 here. This is a workable card if we had to force it into the league, but we don't have to. He'd be just an okay catcher in that regard. Are there rookies? Bob Davis, nothing special there. Joe Kerrigan, a reliever, kind of okay. Gets the out there and there, that's nice. Has some walks. Just a guy, 380 ERA, 379, missed it by one. Here's a pretty, he's nothing special there. And that's that. Again, straightforward. Nothing there for Portland. And that means that all the wavered or rookie players of 76 are going to get a special look, as, the keepers don't look particularly good. I'm going to take a break, and then we'll get into the National League West. All right, next up we've got Houston, and we have Cesar Cedeno, Tommy Helms, Roger Metzger, Dave Roberts. All those cards have player years. There are 4 cards available for those 4 players. Cedeno, again, a 1, a -4. All 4 years. Amazing. AA, is this the card they take? It could very well be. You see the power against lefties. This is going to be a 300 hitter, too. 297, just misses with 18 homers. It's going to be close. I mean, all the years are going to be really close, which is kind of good. It means that they have flexibility. AA Steeler is what you kind of want. 300 if you can get it. This guy pretty much does it. It's so far, this is the bar on the Cedeno cards. 74, 5, or 7 are better, then even better, but I'll take that Cedeno right there. Tommy Helms has a nice 76. He's not a 2, though. He used to be a 1 at one point. He's a 3 second baseman. He only works in a platoon here. He got injured, you can see. Crushes lefties with the power. And if you have a platoon at second, you could go to this, really. I mean, it's not a big deal to have a platoon. Again, sometimes less is more. If a guy plays every day, he's pretty ordinary, but if you get a guy and he just crushes lefties, and there you go. Metzger is still a 1 at short. Wow, he's a 1 in 4, 5, and 6. I don't think a lot of people remembered how good a defender he was. I think he had a 220 average in one of the years. Here he's 210. Again, I might simply look at E rating when I make my final choice. Get the lowest E rating possible, just to get the automatic double play in theory. And Dave Roberts, starter 7. Look at that, 3 days rest. ERA is a little on the high side, but it's a lefty pitching on 3 days rest. He doesn't get lit up by righties. He's just ordinary, but I'm fine with this card if I had to use it. If he has a sub 4 ERA, and I think he might in one of the other years, I'll go to that. But I definitely like him to have him pitch on 3 days rest. Particularly if he doesn't have an outlier year where he's got like a 2-something ERA in less than 200 innings. I'd go for that, but otherwise, might as well get him pitching on 3 days rest with one of his cards there. Second year rookies. Rob Ballore, nothing special. Louis Gomez, again, nothing special. Jeff Newman, let's keep going. Leon Roberts started with the Tigers, I believe. He started with the Astros, and I think he went to the Tigers. This is a player right here. Not much defense, but he can hit. It's a 289 hitter, folks. Nice player. One of the better right-handed hitting corner outfielders. There usually is a dearth of left-handed hitting corner outfielders who can't hit lefties. So Roberts is at least in the platoon, and then he could be an everyday player. For a team who doesn't value defense that much, that's the thing that would hold him back. But he's better than just a guy, I think. I think he's a nice stick, you know. Here's a young Joaquin Andujar starter 7 card. 3.61 ERA. Not bad. Get him started. He can make the league. We have Dan Larson. He's a righty starter 7, much like Andujar. 3.03 ERA. If you're wondering, he's got the 4.10 template, which is the 4th best ERA on Houston, with Andujar, who had the 6.10 template. So he is lower than he, and there's one more pitcher in between the two on earned run average. Here's Gene Pence. He might have been an extra player. Nope, he could have actually been the 3rd best ERA on this team. Yep, 295, just ahead of Dan Larson's 303. All in all, from that, they have options. Nothing really is stunning, but they have options. So we like Cedeno. Helms could be in the platoon. And there's 3 rookies in there who could make the team. So that's good news for Houston. All right, next up, the Dodgers. Willie Crawford, Davey Lopes, Tommy John, Don Sutton. Crawford is still doing it. He's now with the Cardinals, but you could steal him for a year. He's got a 295 card and a 304 card available. In the corner, everyday player. Nice card for Willie Crawford. The speed is gone. Used to be an A stealer. I don't know what happened to that. You can still run the bases, though. Another Davey Lopes card is a second baseman. Double A stealer. Takes more pitches now, which is nice. Average is 241, but the walks help him leading off. So they asked him to do that to get on base more and steal bases, and there you go. Tommy John back from the surgery. The eponymous elbow surgery, as we call it. So coming back, he's not going to be as good as he was before. He'll still be effective. He'll give up a lot of singles. He'll give up like a hit per inning, but not a lot of walks or home runs. The homers and walks will be low. The singles, he'll give up lots of singles. As the ball will be at the knees or in the dirt. And he'll be very effective for another decade, believe it or not. Hard to imagine that. All right, we like the 75 Sutton card, but he's a starter 9 here. But the ERA is above 3, and Sutton has his own standards. He's a Mount Rushmore pitcher, so you kind of want him with an ERA below 3 for that distinction. Though you certainly would take this card if you had to. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever, but he's got even more to offer in other years. Your rookies are Henry Cruz, nothing special. Frank LaCourte, he puts too many men on, and that is that. So, not much in the farm system. So they're going to have to go with, well, Crawford would definitely be a guy to go to. At least one of the players they would take. All right. Let's see here. Next up will be the San Diego Padres. And the Padres, it's Nate Colbert, John Milner, Johnny Grubb, Gene Tennis. Grubb is a 1 in 75. He also has a good 77. So we'd like him in one of those years. All right, Gene Tennis is a pretty bad 74. But 76 is pretty good to him. He'll be a Padre in 77. Though you wouldn't mind this card either, with 22 home runs. So Tennis is certainly an option here. And the rookies are Leo Foster. Not much. Very young John Stearns. He gets on base a lot. He's got a -2 arm. That's really weird because most of his career, when he's very successful, late 70s, early 80s, he's got a 0 arm. But he has a nice on-base percentage, can steal bases. Here he can't steal bases. He's got power versus righties. His whole game is different here. It's so bizarre. He didn't have power. He could steal bases. And he was a 0 arm. Now he's got a -2 arm with power and walks on one side. That's a nice card. It's a sneaky looking effective card here because you got the walks on the left side, the homers on the right side. Butch Metzger in the bullpen he's all right as a right-handed reliever. Slightly better against lefties, you would say. 2.93 ERA, so that's some nice options. Stearns is actually a Met, which meant the Padres snuck him away in free agency. So do they make a move for him to prevent the Mets from getting their player? That's all part of the drafting problem. All right, last, the Giants. And then after the Giants, I'll take another little break, and then we'll look at the waiver guys, since they're right back there. There's not that much of them to look at. Giants are Tito Fuentes, Gary Matthews, Willie McCovey, Bobby Mercer. All right, Fuentes a 3 at second base. This is okay. 260 maybe. 263 in a full season. He'd be a switch hitting second baseman who's a 3 is fine. Nothing spectacular, but he'd make the club without a problem. Gary Matthews, there's a nice left fielder for you, hitting around what, 278. 279, 20 home runs. B. Steeler. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, he was better before, and he'll be better afterwards. But you could see how maybe, just maybe, the Giants weren't particularly happy with those stats, and they mistakenly let him go to Atlanta and Philadelphia and the Cubs, and he was very prosperous later. All right, so Mercer's here now from the Yankees. His range is a 3, though, so he really comes down from a 1. And now by 76, he's a 3. Does still have some power. The average is down. The walks are here. You'd have to be an everyday player to take advantage of those home runs over on the left side. So, yeah. It's workable. I think you can look for a better one. Maybe 75 or 77 or better years for Mercer. But I would take that if I had to. Just like Fuentes. They're fine cards. But if you can find better ones. I mean, like I say often, that's the bar. And then can you raise the bar? Find something better. You got a rookie Dan Briggs. Not much there. Sadik. Not much. That's that. Yeah, it's 76 card set, folks. It's not giving you a glowing recommendation. It's just the reality of it. It's just, you find that there's simply a lot of strat cards that they print based on, the information, but it's like, I don't really want to use that card. They can't field, they can't hit. How do I get them in a lineup? Let me take a look at the waiver class here and see if there are any diamonds in the rough. Let's pause and I'll get into that. All right, now we're going to take a look at the waiver guys. I forecasted this, and in my forecast I only found 4 guys that I thought were good out of maybe 40 or so guys. So I'll kind of breeze through this. Reggie Cleveland would be one of them, though. Reggie Cleveland, starter 7, The 307 ERA, 170 innings for Boston, yeah. So this card could make the league. What I like about it is no home runs for a Fenway Park pitcher, which is nice. And just a guy, Bill Grief, nothing special. Ron Hodges, a lefty catcher with power, but not a lot of average. Utility player, Kelleher, with the bat only against lefties. Kubiak, a switch-hitting utility player, would probably get a lot. He'd probably beat out a lot of other utility players because he's a switch hitter. Talking Tony Muser's average is down now to 227. That's not going to work. Tommy Harper just working a platoon versus lefties. He's now a B Steeler. Alex Johnson can still hit. 268, but it's very pedestrian otherwise. Tovar is back to multiple positions, but the batting average is gone. You got Jerry Terrell as a second baseman against lefties, is nice. You got Mitterwald. Catcher against lefties, maybe Tom Griffin. Get knocked around there with a lot of walks. Fran Healy, just an okay catcher. See, not much going on here, folks. Vic Harris, switch-hitting utility player, but not as talented as multiple position talent as Kubiak, but he's got more stick than Kubiak, what it's worth. Tommy Davis, the first base, just 265, no power, no position. We got a 1/3 baseman, A-Rod, so this is a player to consider. He's also a 1 in 75, so he's competing against himself. He'll get into the league in one of those years. I think he hits 250 in 75. He's close here. 74 or 75, 75 or 76 A-Rod can make it. Actually, Lowenstein's not on waivers anymore. He was picked up by the Mets, I believe. But he has a card where he's a AA Steeler. Fergosi, he's kind of losing it. He could still be a DH versus lefties. Dave Nelson's really had to come down a bit from his 300 card to 235. All right, here's one of the pitchers we liked. Alan Foster's a starter 6. He's got a 3.21 ERA. Deeper dive on the card. You get an out there. You have to catch that out there, which is going to be tough. You get an out there. And you want that out on... If you get the out on 7, then it could be a workable start for this guy. You could say he's a starter who gets lefties out, minus the home runs. It's a tricky card, but he's slightly better than just a guy, we like to say. Dave Roberts, the hitter, not the pitcher. Not hitting either. Now, this Renko card's pretty good. Starter 6, again. Cleveland, Foster, Renko seem to be the best pitchers of this lot. Not as good as the first two guys I mentioned, but still a workable jag. And then from here, maybe one more guy. This guy, Mike Phillips. So, sneaky, you don't see it, but he's got power. So he becomes your lefty utility player with power at 3 different infield positions. Plus, you got the 10 homer on 5 to go with it. Can you make the 6 there, or the 8 there? Can you make that hit? And if he had to play versus lefties, he wouldn't kill you. So that's a sneaky, nice card for Mike Phillips. You see, he's just a 256 hitter. But it's looking at how he can help your team with the few things he's good at. So I think this guy gets in the league. Someone will take him off waivers. Tom Grieve, corner outfielder. Always struggle for these corner outfield guys because there's so much competition. And we saw Leon Roberts hitting 289. Well, this guy hits 255. 20 homers, but it's a full season. The homers are nice. Card very similar to Leon Roberts. So both guys are competing for to be the top guy at that ability there. Mike Lum used to really be a star with that 73 card. He ran that 73 card back for 4 years with the Toronto Blue Jays, and they were very good. You could still, because the defense is so good in the corner, he's at least a corner platoon here, right? A corner platoon needs help, of course, on the left side, and again, it's 228. If he was a 3 or 4 outfielder, I wouldn't like the card at all, but I like the defense. And maybe I just had good memories of Mike Lum's previous card. Went to an All-Star game or two. Are there any diamonds on the rough? On the retired list, there's only going to be 4 cards here, I think. One of them is okay. 4, well, we actually have 6 cards make the retired list. So this Rod Gilbreth, he's a second baseman. He could be an okay second baseman. 260 something, 251, nothing special. Bob Moose is getting knocked around too much. Jim Crawford is a lefty, so he always gets a deep dive. We'll call him a lefty who gets lefties out. In that regard, he doesn't give up homers to them. You'd like to get that out on 8 if possible. But that's pretty good against lefties. So I think this card would make it as that lefty gets lefties out. So ignore the ERA. He's getting lit up over there. Here's a guy we like. Jesse Jefferson? Or no, we don't like him. We like Gilbreth. My bad. We like 77 Jefferson. That's right. Yeah, we have 6 cards here. We have 4 cards in 77. I like the wrong forecast. Yeah, he's getting lit up here. And Jim Lytle, a little bit like that Mike Lum card, but no power. So Lum beats Lytle out because of the power. So it's 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The last being another lefty, Eddie Bain. And Eddie Bain just doesn't get enough guys out with the walks and the homers and the hits. It's just not good enough. So when you look at this collective, you know, Gilbreth could win a second base spot. Actually, second and third utility spot, he could win that. But Crawford's probably the most intriguing. It's not great, but there's a shortage of left-handed pitching in the league, so that makes him a nice find when you consider this is the retired list. And how did he get here? Well, it's because he didn't have a card in 1974 that Strat-O-Matic printed, so he don't get waivers. So the team has to either keep him or put him on the retired list, which they did. So that's a look at the 1976 card set. And next week, we'll dig into 1977 for the first time, and that, in my opinion, folks, is the best card set of the 1970s, the 1977 set. We'll dig into that over the next 4 weeks. That should be a blast. We're going to see some wild-looking numbers. All right, thanks for checking this out, and we'll see you next time.